Hey everybody, welcome back. So in today's video, we're going to continue talking about planned distribution switching. And in particular, we're going to continue talking about the second tier in planned distribution switching, in which we continue talking about the system. So in the first video, I went over just a brief overview of what these next couple of videos would entail. So now we're actually going to begin going into the nuts and bolts and to the smaller, finer details of the actual planned distribution switching and how to actually approach it, so that way you can get a good overall foundation. Now, as I said in the first video, and by no means is this comprehensive, right? There's a lot of stuff that pertains to planned distribution switching, and I'm by no means have all the answers, right? And I haven't certainly seen everything pertaining to planned distribution switching, but at the very least, what I would like to do is provide what I know and what I've seen and what I've learned over the course of time, and hopefully be able to provide some sort of help and benefit. In this part of the video, this is where I'm actually going to begin talking about the first initial phase when you start beginning to ask questions, right? So these questions that are going to be asked, they're going to be broken down into three different sections, right? The first section is questions that you're going to be asking pertaining to the nature of work, right? The second set of questions is going to be pertaining to the location of where the crews are actually going to be doing their work associated with the switching you're going to be writing. And the third set of questions is pertaining to the type of switching that's going to be needed based on the type of work that they're going to be doing. So beginning with the nature of work, just overall trying to figure out what type of work is going to be done for the switching that you're going to be writing, right? Some of the typical questions that you might be asking is, okay, will the crews be installing, removing, or straightening a pole? Are they going to be working with overhead or underground conductors throughout this process, or maybe even both? Are they going to be working, is it going to be affecting transmission, distribution, maybe both in the process of them doing the work and trying to switch everything out? Are they going to be cutting in? Are they going to be removing jumpers? Are they going to be installing brand new equipment, right? Or are they going to be replacing existing equipment that's already there? Are they going to have hands on the conductor, right? Are they going to be working close to the conductor? Are they actually going to be touching the conductor, of course, with all the appropriate PPE, right? Or are they just going to be close proximity to it, right? Or will they be working on energized or de-energized conductors, right? All of this is just questions overall. That's, in my opinion, is a good idea for the operator to start asking, right? Typically, when the operator gets this information as far as what they're going to be doing out in the field, the operator, typically the information provided to the operator has most of this information, most of these questions answered already for it. And all the operator has to do is just review and try to make sure that they understand, right? But in case that it doesn't, this is where I believe the operator will be able to step in and start thinking about some of these things and start questioning and try to figure out, because all of these questions play a role later on as far as when it comes to writing distribution switching, right? Because if you don't have an understanding of what the crews are going to be doing out in the field, how can you write, right? All of this helps. It helps the operator to get a good feel for what's going on the actual day of, right? So now, not only is the operator going to be asking these questions as far as, the nature of work to try to figure out exactly what the crews are doing out in the field, but the operator is going to start. It's a good idea for the operator to ask questions as far as where exactly the crews are going to be working at, right? Geographically, what part of the city are they going to be at, right? And based on the location where the crews are going to be working at, is there going to be some sort of access issues? Maybe some sort of communication issues? Maybe they're going to be working in an area where maybe you're not going to be able to communicate. What about coordination issues, right? Are they going to be working in an area where it's possibly in another company's control area of control, and maybe they're going to be stepping into some other company's boundaries and bounds because maybe that's where the lines run? Are they going to be working into another company's properties, maybe a private company property, maybe a customer's privately owned residence? This is a type of information that is beneficial for the operator to understand. Based on the location, does it appear that the crews are going to have issues with traffic, right? Because that will also play a role as far as distribution switching is concerned. Based on the specific location, Would it be better, to have a specific time of day for this work to be done, right? Maybe there is traffic issues in that area. Maybe it's not so safe for the crews to do that work in that area at a particular time. Let's just say it's 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock in the morning with rush hour traffic. Everybody's driving to and from work. It's maybe not beneficial, right? Also, this is just pertaining to the area, right? What about the circuit? Based on the location, what circuits run through there? What circuits are the crews actually going to be working on, right? Is it just only one circuit, two circuits, three circuits that are there at the location? Is there transmission overhead? Is that also going to be affected by the nature of work that they're going to be doing? Where are they actually going to be working on? What circuit? There's maybe multiple circuits that they're going to be having their hands on, or that needs to be modified, or that needs to be affected based on the switching that is going to be written, right? And what part specifically on that circuit or circuits are the crews going to be working on, right? Are they going to be working on just a portion of a riser, for example? Are they going to be working on a portion of an underground primary? Are they going to be working on a particular device, maybe like a pad mount transformer, maybe like an overhead CAN, right? What about if they're going to be working on overhead section of primary? Or what if they're going to be working on the actual transmission on a pole, or on some jumpers on the transmission line, or a particular switch on the transmission line? All of these questions are questions that need to be asked when it comes to determining the precise location of where the crews are going to be doing their work. Now, the third set of questions, that the operator could possibly ask is pertaining to the type of switching that needs to be done, right? So some of the typical questions you can ask is, okay, well, do you need to make before break? Or do you need to apply the break before make principle to the actual switching? Is there a specific manner of breaking or isolating the area that might be requested by the crews for their safety, right? Or are they going to be wanting to transfer load out first, operating certain devices before cutting jumpers? Or are they going to want to cut one set of jumpers first before another? Are they going to want to de-energize a portion first before beginning their work? These type of questions are going to be necessary in order to be able to write this distribution switching properly. With this work that they're going to be doing, will load need to be transferred out, right? Do we need to operate certain devices in order to transfer that portion, or larger portions of the circuit that they're going to be working on? Does that need to be transferred out? And based on how they're going to be doing the work, based on the original questions, the first set of questions that were asked previously before, if they're going to be working, are they going to be working energized or de-energized? And if they are, for example, let's just say they are working the circuit energized, right, or work in close proximity to it, right? Based on that nature of work, do special protective circuit reclosing considerations need to be taken into account for the fact that they're going to be working close to that conductor, right? These questions form some, not all, of the questions that, operator could possibly ask when it comes to the type of switching that needs to be done according to the type of work that they're going to be doing, right? So you might be asking, okay, so why is it that we need to ask these questions? And I think I pretty much explained it a little bit ago, right? This is to ensure that the nature of work corresponds to the type of switching that they're going to bring, right? You have to know what the crews are going to be doing out in the field. And by knowing what the crews are going to be doing out in the field, you can then figure out and make sure that the clearance points, that the devices that are going to be operated are the correct ones, in order to ensure that the crews are working within the bounds that they set from the very beginning, right? You have to ensure by asking these questions that the clearance points provided correspond and correlate to where the crews are going to be working to ensure their safety. Also, it's also good to ask these questions to ensure that both, not only the field personnel, but also the personnel inside the control center are both on the same page on the actual day of the switching, when they're actually going to be doing the work, right? So that everybody is kept in the same loop and everybody's on the same page. Because God forbid, something were to happen, let's just say, right, something were to happen on the actual day of, let's just say something were to happen on the circuits that the crews are going to be working on, or even worse, hopefully not, something were to actually happen to the field personnel who are doing that work, then by the operators having these questions fully answered already before writing the distribution switching, and having everybody pretty much kept in the loop. This would help the operators to have a better understanding of how to respond in the case an emergency were to arise in these type of situations. So just briefly, I touched up on some of these questions that an operator can ask. By no means, like I said, is this exhaustive, but at the very least, it could provide an operator with a good foundation, a good start, so to speak, as far as where they can begin to begin developing the planned distribution switching as they continue in this process. Now, in the next video, I'm going to be talking about circuit analysis and breaking down how to actually study and analyze the circuit so that way everything and the switching could be done properly.